I believe there's demons all over these people.
Well, first of all, I just want to preface by saying that you're obviously doing something right, because every time I come on your show, there's intense warfare, and that's exactly what we're talking about.
In these last days, God's people need to speak the truth. Hi, I'm David Heavener, and I'm doing just that with my brand new show, David Heavener Live, where we cover topics the church won't. Join me each and every week with my guest on David Heavener Live. Demonic warfare. People come on this show. They call me later. They said, David, I'm being attacked. I've been attacked. I got a call from Russ Dizdar before he went on to the Lord, on heaven with the Lord. He called me after a show. Jamie Alden was on the show. Russ called me, said, David, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm all right. Why? He says, well, Jamie's not. Said he's got a heart condition. He can't breathe. He's getting thrown around. And folks, listen, this is not something you fear. Faith is greater than fear. Okay. So perhaps you've been going through these types of things. Let me explain to you that you are God's warrior. You're a warrior in his army. Expect the enemy not to like you. Here's what you need to be afraid of. Not the devil attacking you. It's when he doesn't, because if he doesn't, you're of no value to the kingdom. Does that make sense? Can we process that, please? I mean, it may be okay for this lifetime. You can mail it in, though I don't think it is. That's what most Christians do. They're lukewarm. They mail it in every Sunday morning. But no, you and I, we're frontline warriors. Of course we get kicked. Let me tell you something. Persecution is not defeat. Persecution is pushback from the enemy, but greater is he who's in me, who's in you, than he who's in the world. And the devil loves to use fear. So do not let the F word, the fear word, take hold. You let the F word, the faith word, take hold. All right. Do not have conversations with Satan. Do not negotiate with Satan. You speak to him. You command him. He's got to leave. There's no way he can't. Don't throw holy water. Don't speak in some, Latin. That's what happened to the guy in The Exorcist. Remember years ago? And the demon threw his rear end out the window. Yeah. So anyway, we got the power. We got the power. So good to be with you guys. I appreciate you all. Love you guys. Just letting you know, we have a film festival coming up that I'm so excited about. I just want to share with you real quick here. The Last Evangelist Film and Music Festival. All right. And it's November the 15th, 14th and 15th, both in person, online. We're going to have a red carpet event on the Blood, the episode 3 of Last Evangelist. And it's going to be in near Dayton, Ohio. And I'm going to be teaching the future of film and distribution. We're going to have a live show. So you can just go get your tickets. Go to lastevangelistfestival.com. If you have a film or music, you can submit here and be a part of this, okay? Get your ticket. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. And this is what we do. This is our ministry. If you'd like to be a sponsor and have your name, logo in the festival, call 844-806-0006. Okay, but here's what I want to talk about. I had my guest on several weeks ago, Cynthia Rotenberger, and we talked about her death experience, not near death, but death experience of a car crash. And she went to heaven. She was with the Lord, and through those chains of events. Now you can go to davidheavener.tv and you can watch this on there. And we do have some exclusive on it. However, she's back with me to tell the rest of the story. Remember that? What was that? Commentator. Now, here's the rest of the story. And what is the rest of the story, folks? When I heard it, I'm going, oh my goodness, this is running rampant. The past month, I've interviewed two people besides her that have had their children kidnapped, stolen, abducted. But this time it's by the church. I want to share with you a story today about a shocking event, but it's real. And it's about a mother, Cynthia. And she didn't lose her son to gangs or to drugs or to the streets. She lost her son to something more deceptive. It's a church. She's going to tell her story. When her boy was only 5 years old, this is when the grooming began, folks. You got to listen to this because it's real and it's happening as we speak to other people, other families. And the reason we're talking about churches this time is because it was in the church. And folks, this is in the church. So by the time her son was 15, these church members came into the night and they abducted him. What did they do with him? And we're going to find out. So I want to bring Cynthia on. I want to ask Cynthia some questions, and I'm asking Holy Spirit this evening if you could be with us and let us know what it is we need to have. Download the intel to us, through Cynthia. In Jesus' name we pray. Cynthia, how are you?
Good. How are you, David?
Good. Okay, let's get right into it. Your son was 5 years old. You went to a church, like First Baptist Church somewhere in Pennsylvania. What happened? How did this grooming start? And what does this grooming what's behind it? How did they do it? What's the protocol?
Okay, first of all, the people that took him didn't. The grooming started at 5 in the church because the church is not a church of God. But the people that kidnapped him and lined up with the pastor showed up when he was around 15. Okay, the grooming was the spirit of Antichrist that's behind everything.
Yeah, and that was at 5 years old. So tell me, what did they do at 5 years old? I want you to tell me so that others out there won't fall into the same trap. What happened?
Well, it's a false doctrine. So the church, it's a counterfeit. It imitates the true doctrine. And we're praise and worshipers and intercessors and prophetic. And that spirit goes after that, first of all. So I was the organist, pianist, and had a prison ministry. My son was also extremely gifted and in praise and worship. And they knew that right off the bat because we carried that presence. So it started right away.
Okay, but Cynthia, how did they do it? What was it they said to groom him? What was the grooming?
It's love bombing. There were Masons in the church. The Masons were right across the street. They love bomb you. They make you think that they're supporting you, that they love you, that they're your family, that they're with you. It's narcissistic love bombing. So that's what they do. They build a fake relationship with you.
Okay. All right. So now you had a good relationship. I guess you'd go over their house. They'd come over your house. You all would pray. You had a Bible study. You kind of do the things that people in churches do. Now, he's 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. At what point did they come and take your son out of the house?
Well, I'm leaving a part out because we're not there yet.
Okay.
About me meeting a false angel of light in the church. Okay, that's a whole, but okay, in conjunction to what we're pursuing, the grooming, the whole church, the Baptist church is not a church of God. So it's going to counterfeit everything. It just kept counterfeiting and putting us fakely in positions of leadership only because God put us in that. So that spirit goes after that to bond with it and take over. Does that make sense?
Okay. Let me try to dissect it. So you were in position of doing music. You had some authority within the church, doing things. And are you telling me that they didn't like that? They were coming against it?
Not at first. They loved it. I also had a key to the church, and I would go in Saturdays and broadcast through the whole town.
Okay.
On the big, huge pump organ that was incredible. And I would do praise and worship, and it would pump through the whole town.
Okay. So, okay. But what I'm trying to do, Cynthia, is get to it's a pivotal point of what did they do to love bomb? I know they were nice to him and all that, but what started happening that caused you concern that, hey, this is not true love. This is not from God. What were some of the things that were going on?
I didn't know they were picking him up during the night. So I had red flags, but I was trusting in the Spirit of Jesus in me. I did not know that they were picking him up regularly during the night and grooming him at their house.
Okay, so they were picking him up during the night. How old was he when they started picking him up during the night?
I don't know, maybe 15, 6, something. He was a minor.
Okay, he was around 15 years old. So, like, for 10 years, he had been in the church, right?
We left, and they wrote a letter, invited us back.
Okay, all right. Why did you leave the church?
Because I was doing speaking engagements on TV and the radio, and people were saying, you need a church that is more anointed. So we went to another non-denominational church.
Right.
Where as soon as I got there, the pastor wanted to put us in leadership. I said, I just want to sit here and I'll let you know.
Yeah. Okay. So you left because you weren't really happy with that church, right?
Well, it wasn't enough of freedom, and people that knew us recommended that we go to one that was more appropriate.
Okay. More freedom. Okay.
Correct. Liberty and freedom and the real Jesus.
Okay, I'm still trying to get to the point what was going on, how they were grooming him. I need some, I mean, people are nice in church. That's what people do. But you got to give me something like what were they saying to him?
They found out every detail of our life and of our history. We came out of abuse. And so that's what Jezebel narcissists do. So they find out every intimate detail as though they care. It's love bombing, among other things, and then pull the rug out from under you. Use it against you.
Gotcha. So they started getting into the depths of your life, of your personal life, started asking questions, started digging deep, and you trusted them enough to open up and start sharing things with them, right?
Right, because I got raised from the dead and I was still going to that church. So it was still at that point seemed real intertwined.
Yeah. Okay. So they were were they finding out things about you that they used against you later on?
Yes.
Okay. What were some of the things they were finding out about you that they used against you?
That I was sexually abused by my mother, and that it ran in our families a lot of demonic activity. And so that's a big deal. And that I was the spokesperson for the shelter for abused women and children.
Okay. So let's go back to the fact that you were intimately abused through your sexuality. And there was a lot of demonic presence in your bloodline, in your family. Why would they have a problem with that? Number one. Number two is, what did they do about it? Did they try to cast out demons? Did they do a deliverance?
No, they don't know how to, because it's Jezebel and her crew. Yeah. So what they do is they start to slowly demean you and take away who you are, try to change your identity, try to play with and make you doubt yourself, what you believe in, who you are, everything.
Yeah. Do you think maybe, Cynthia, because this was demonic warfare when you were a child and you were abused through your sexuality, that the same demons that did that had entered that church and they wanted to take you down, plus the fact that you came back to life? I mean, you went to heaven, you had an experience. Do you think they were planted there to actually take you and your son, your family down?
From before the beginning of time, Jesus talked to me about this and still does. He knew this was going to happen because he showed me this in heaven. So it's all a plan to prove that what the enemy means for harm, God turns around for good. He showed me the strength that he put in my family. Yeah. And he showed me that we were more than conquerors, but we had to go through it for his glory. Because 2 weeks before I got hit and killed, I laid on the floor and said, take my life and use it as a testimony to your glory.
Yeah. So, okay. So Jesus told you this. God told you what was going to happen. This is when you had your car wreck. You died. You went to heaven, spent time in heaven. But now, and this hadn't happened yet. When you had the car wreck and all this grooming had not happened. How old was your son when you had the car wreck?
Wait a second. I don't understand. We already. Okay.
How old was your son when you had the car wreck? 5
years of age.
Okay, gotcha. So that fits into exactly what you're talking about. So you got this church now, they're grooming him. Their intention is to destroy your family because they have demons throughout the church. So now you've got off and on a relationship with this church for some like 10 years from the time he's 5 till he's 15. You end up going back, and in the middle of the night, you're saying that they would come and pick him up and take him somewhere?
Yes.
Okay. How old was he when they first started picking him up in the middle of the night?
I don't know, 15, 16. It's in that range, but it was so insidious. They were doing other things behind my back. And the whole thing is to kill me. Stop this testimony, because we overcome him, the enemy, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, and loving our lives to death. So I'm the mom. I was the one they wanted to kill, steal.
Okay. So, I'm going to come back and ask you about other things they were doing, but right now I want to stay on your son.
Okay.
They would pick him up. How many times do you think roughly they picked him up in the middle of the night? Like how many nights? Just guess.
I don't know. A lot.
A lot.
I was not aware of it at all.
Okay. Over what period of time do you think they did this, picking him up in the middle of the night and taking him away?
David, I knew things. Wow. I'm widowed and single, so I'm already standing in the gap globally. I had a prison ministry at serial murder level, and I was leading seminars at the church. So I was really distracted. That's what Jezebel does. That's what the enemy does. So even though I sensed it, I didn't really know. I didn't know that he was leaving. I didn't know.
No, I understand that. You didn't know. Of course, if you did, you wouldn't have let it happen. My question is, I'm trying to get a timeline here. Do you think it was over a period of months, years, they were picking him up in the middle of the night and taking him out?
I don't know about years in that particular way. They were doing it in other ways, but actually picking him up was maybe, I don't know, a little less than a year. I'm not sure, David. So I'm not sure at this moment. I don't want to,
Okay. No, that's fine. So they would pick him up like, I don't know, midnight or something, drop him back off before you woke up in the morning. Where would they take him?
To their house.
Huh?
To their home.
To their home. Okay. And who is they? You don't need to give a name, but just give me, was it a man, woman? Was it a youth pastor? Who was it?
All the above. It was particularly, though, a man and a woman, because Jezebel manifests in both, but it also needs an Ahab to activate it. So I would have said the husband, who was also one of the main organists and pianists, was the Ahab, and his wife, who was and full-blown Jezebel, and the daughter, who was after my son, was Athaliah.
Okay, so this was a couple of families, and they had a daughter. How old was the daughter?
I'm not sure exactly, maybe 12, maybe early, maybe 10 when it started. It wasn't families, it was one family. One family.
One family, okay.
But it spread then.
Okay. And they would take them to their house, and without getting detail, I don't need to know that, but what would they do when they take them to the house?
Expose them to graphic sexual sounds, and I'm not.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So
alcohol.
Okay. Yeah. He was 15, 16. So now he's getting to the point where he can not necessarily make, legit solid decisions for himself, but he's not 5 years old anymore. Do you think the fact that they groomed him at 5 years old and 6 or 7, whatever, do you think that had an influence on him yielding to some of the crazy stuff they were doing to him when he was 15 and 16 years old?
Well, all the enemy, as soon as I got raised from the dead when he was 5, started in. But when he was 9, I married an extremely abusive, narcissistic global pastor that really kicked in abuse in every way to us, every way possible. And then it was after that that the church wrote us again and called us back.
Okay. Okay.
Does that
So,
make sense?
okay. So let's put a pause on your son for a second. We left it off to the fact that they were picking him up at night and taking him to their house and exposing him to graphic sexual sounds and, I guess, visual things. So, but now let's circle back and talk about you. You said they were doing other things besides picking them up. They were doing other things to you, against your family. What were some of those other things?
Well, again, it's a very subtle sexual seduction that
Sure.
they act as though it's agape love. But when the rubber meets the road and the tree is shaken, it's not, it's lust.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I gotcha. Now, Cynthia, the reason I'm asking these questions is only for one reason. And I'm sorry if maybe it's hard for you to answer,
Okay.
and don't if you can't.
Okay.
But there may be someone out there that's going through what you went through. Maybe someone's going to go through what you're going through. Maybe they know somebody who's going through. The way to help people, as you know, is to give a testimony of what we went through and identify the enemy's tactics, right? And so that's why I ask you these things. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you now this question. You talk about agape love, you talk about brotherly love, and you talk about eros, which is sexuality. What were they doing that was supposed to be agape love, but yet it was eros love? What, can you give me some things, activities?
Yes. They were elevating me, gave me complete freedom in the church. And some of the leaders, all the leaders people would come. There were gentlemen interested in me, and I wasn't having I wouldn't hold their hand or anything. I made that clear. So they would come to church because they were pursuing me, and they were very wealthy people. And the Masons just started saying I was sleeping with them, and it never happened. That's one way. They just slowly put you in a position, but then try to control it. Instead of the freedom of the Lord, it becomes religion. It goes from the beautiful freedom of agape love, because they can't show it and they block it. They grieve the Holy Spirit. And so it insidiously, because that's what narcissistic abuse is like, increment by increment shifts into religion.
All right.
Spirit of the Antichrist, Jezebel.
Yeah. Okay. So in other words, I don't want to keep saying things that you didn't quite say. I'm trying to get.
Okay. Go ahead. Say whatever you want. No problem.
Because you said they were showing agape love, but yet it was really behind that was a lust. What did they put their arm around you? Did they ask you out to dinner? Was there things like?
Putting it mildly. Some of the leaders would say things like, "Let me help you. Can I help you take your coat off? I've always wanted to take your clothing off."
Okay. Gotcha.
Just remarks that obviously is not agape love.
Yeah, of course.
How do you explain that when they say it real quietly to you and no one hears? But it was a lot of that insidious projecting on me how their lifestyles were.
Right. Okay, so Cynthia, stay with me. When we come back, I'm going to be asking Cynthia about the time they took her son and did not bring him back, why they took him, under what pretense, what was behind it. Also, we're going to talk about demons within the church, how her pastor actually spoke in demonic tongues. Okay. So I'm so glad you guys are with me here on this as we talk about Jezebel in the church, because that's basically what Cynthia is talking about, is Jezebel in the church. Folks, if you would, please consider us when you're praying about what ministry you would tithe to. I don't even like the word tithe, but maybe to give to, whether it's a one-time or a reoccurring. We could use it because we deal with issues like this. You hear Cynthia's story, and we've got other, mostly women, but there are some guys. They have nowhere to go. They have no one to talk to. Churches don't want to listen. You can't even go on television because the stuff is just too radical for TV. So consider donating. You can go to davidheavener.tv/give. Again, text chosen to 91999 or call 844-806-0006. That would help the ministry immensely. And also, if you would go to David Heavener TV, we have all these shows here with Russ Dizdar, Ellie Marzulli, Josh Peck. I mean, over 1,200 shows. We would really appreciate it. I would appreciate it. Don't forget our books and all of the stuff that we have for the ministry here. Okay, so let's get back to it. Cynthia, I'm going to show you a scripture here, and I just want to talk about it for a second. This is Malachi 4:6. He will turn the hearts of their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers. This is in these last days that I believe, at the end time, it's about father against the son, son against daughter. But the Bible also talks about our families are going to be reunited. Mm-hmm. It's not just the spiritual family, though it is, but I'm believing it's going to be families all over the world that are going to be reunited, Cynthia. And the reason is because they're hearing stories like yours. There's hope. There's a spark of light. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. And there's also an order to that. What I mean by that specifically, God's a God of order. And marriage is honorable above all. So first, as the bride of Christ, the true ecclesia, the true set apart ones, we have to be in order in our army. So obviously Jesus died for everyone, and we have to reflect that our whole life. That's the only reason we're alive 24/7.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's talk about the time that they finally took your son away from you. They didn't bring him back. Okay. How old was he then, roughly?
16.
Okay. All right. And where did they take him when they took him this time when they didn't bring him back?
I'm not sure if it was their house or some other place that they were taking him at that point.
Okay. Okay. Do you believe that they were exposing him to SRA, satanic ritual abuse?
Well, that's what it is to do this. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me restructure the question. Do you think this was a corporate event, meaning a group of people? Okay. All right. Now, the reason what I'm getting to is a coven is 13. There could have been 13. I mean, maybe you knew 6 people, but they could have gotten more together. This is how witchcraft is. They operate like that. They think there's power in that number. Plus, the church is across from a Masonic temple, right?
Yes. And many of the leaders in the church were Masons.
They're Masons. So you have a formula, a cocktail of witchcraft, sorcery, necromancy, obviously SRA. So, I mean, that's a stronghold, Cynthia. Don't you agree? It's a stronghold. It's a portal. So on Underground, I want to talk about this, but I don't think we can get in. We'll get close to it. I don't think we can get to it on this particular broadcast because of censorship. But do you think it's a possibility that they would take him to a place and there would be a ritual performed on your son, 15 years old, and it would be a corporate structure doing it, intentional with an agenda, okay? As opposed to just, let's go have fun, let's do this, what do you say?
Well, it definitely was let's not just have fun. It was to stop absolutely my testimony and get the money that the Lord had blessed us with.
Okay.
Profoundly. Absolutely.
So
So
you can
ritual, I have to understand exactly what you mean by that. Everything the enemy does is a ritual of some
it
sort.
is. It is. And I'll get into it in just a second if we have time, because I have so many questions to ask you. So I got to pray of how important that is.
I
But
understand.
you came into money, and they knew you had money, and you think that was one of the things they were after is your money?
I don't think I know it for a
Okay.
fact.
All right. Okay.
100%.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So sometimes, not all the time, but at times, there can be covens. They're in neighborhoods. Covens are all over, right?
Yep.
And covens aren't these people, necessarily with a witch's hat on or with a cape on or whatever. I mean, this could be people in your church. It could be, whatever. But they have a very specific thing that they're doing in these satanic ritual abuse ceremonies. Okay. It's a ceremony and it's a repetition. And in these ceremonies, they can either elect to inflict pain so that they can split personalities. They have each one has a specific agenda as to what they're trying to get through, what they're trying to accomplish. And I guess my question for you, as far as you know, is what type of, was it a ceremony, if you even know? What was their agenda, and was it repetitious?
It's not just them, it's what we came out of, like Abraham. There was such a demonic and strongholds, pure serving the enemy in my family and his father's side of the family.
Yeah.
So we were already up against that. So the minister of the church, this church, wanted to put gargoyles on the top of the church.
Yeah, we have those in Louisville, Kentucky. It's in my book. They've got matter of fact, Kentucky, there was back in the 30s and 40s, they spotted gargoyles flying overhead of the churches. Yeah, very demonic. These are demonic.
Very.
Yeah, it's interesting you'd say that. Do you think they tried to split him? Do you think your son suffers from multiple personalities?
No, it's not multiple personality, but the enemy obviously tried to split him and get him to come against me, betray me. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer. So that and that's going to cause confusion. All narcissistic abuse causes brain damage. All of it. It affects our brain. It changes your brain. Okay. And your soul, your mind, will, and emotions, your body, and everything. That's the reality. It's the same effect as a severe head injury. The same effect as addiction, drug and alcohol addiction. It's
a spiritual blow upon the psyche, because we have the mind of Christ, and that's what they want to destroy. They want to cause brain damage on the mind of Christ. You're so right on that. It's a spiritual infliction, and it's just as bad as someone taking a baseball bat and whacking you upside the head. This is what I've tried to tell people for years, that they have brain damage. And they go, no, he never hit me. Yes, he did. The demons whacked you spiritually over and over again. And this is why people have to go back and renew their mind and really work on the mind of Christ. Cynthia, before we run out of time, I need to ask you, why did they took your son, they didn't bring him back. Why'd they tell you they wouldn't bring him back? What was the reason for that?
Well, I thought he was upstairs. My phone rang early in the morning. I got up and it was children and youth. They had made a false report, and I didn't even know what was going on. I mean, I was in shock, and I ran upstairs and he was gone, to tell him he was gone. So that started it. And then I went to the police, and he was reported as a missing nationwide juvenile.
He was reported as missing?
Yeah, missing nationwide juvenile. Okay. The police and I were chased. I went to the church and said to the pastor and all the leaders, I'm going to confront the woman that has him that has my son at her house. I said, please watch. They acted like they were on my side. I walked over. They turned the other way. She was huge. She gave me a big push like this in my chest and just nailed me.
Okay. So he was 15, so still underage. How long was he gone until you got him back?
It took a little less than a year and tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay, but you did get him back. And
yes, but he was, the shape from the damage is profound on
yeah,
everyone.
yeah. What did they say about you? Did they say you were an unfit parent? I mean, they had to have a reason to take him away from you. What was the reason for that?
No, the reason is the world is not Christian. Okay. I didn't have TV because we read and we were musicians.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
did all that. They used that. They said she deprives them from television. They used all the worldly things. They said I was sexually abusing him. It was just made up things.
Okay.
They just made it look like what they were doing was what I was doing.
Right. It's almost like they tried to make you look like you were a cult, but actually they were. They were trying to make you look like what they really were. This is what demons do.
That's what Jezebel specifically
Yeah.
does, though.
They
Specifically.
Yeah, they do. So when you got him back, he was 16, I guess. Was he a different person? Did he have to go into therapy? Did you pray over him? Did you cast out any demons? What was happening during that time that he was gone?
Well, I walk in deliverance.
Okay.
And Lance and I had always been at that level.
Uh-huh.
I did my best. I'm leaving out some of the things, the complications that I had to go through to get him back, which medically injured me profoundly.
Yeah.
And in conjunction, I just had to walk and continually seek what Jesus showed me in heaven, because he warned me this would happen. So as usual, it was just help, Jesus, give me the wisdom. Tell me, you showed me this, tell me exactly what to do. And it was, at that time, it was extreme agape love. And that's all the facets of Jesus. And that's not an easy thing to do with someone who's injured, because even Jesus with the whip is love. However, someone who is severely narcissistic abused doesn't really need Jesus with the whip. You got to really have, it's a very, very narrow, fine way. So I just constantly was crying out to manifest agape love. There's no option. Yeah. Whatever facet of Jesus of Nazareth that is. And Jesus showed me in heaven, he was worried. This was his one major concern. People were not following the real Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the real Yeshua HaMashiach. They were following Jezebel and her crew, the bride of Satan instead of the bride of Christ.
Cynthia, we're out of time, but you're going to be with us on Underground in about 15 minutes. Folks, if you're not a member of David Heavener TV, become a member so you can be with us Underground. I'm going to be asking Cynthia about how she went about dealing with this once she got her son back, what happened to that church. I'm going to ask her about this preacher speaking in demonic tongues, and also what you can do to look for these things in the church, not only in church, but just anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And also I'm going to ask her about her son, how he's doing now. So Cynthia, stay with me, and I look forward to seeing you on Underground. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, David. I appreciate you giving me the honor to share this with you.
Absolutely. And by the way, do you have a website or a contact they can get in contact with you?
Can we use yours for now? Yeah, I'm in the process of restoring things.
Okay, we'll use mine. Sounds good. I'll see you in about 15 minutes. God bless you.
Appreciate it. God bless you.
Yeah, if you guys want to get in touch with Cynthia, you can email me at david@davidheavener.tv, or you can call 844-806-0006. That's if you need prayer also. We're here for you. Now, Cynthia talked about her son did not get split. But folks, many times that's not the case. They will take children and split them. So I tracked down Kelly, who runs Warrior Bride Ministries. I'll be speaking there this coming weekend. And she's going to talk about Program Multiple. She has a ministry that does that. So let's take a look and see what Kelly has to say. ask you, Kelly, about program multiples, because you're one of the few ministries that I deal with. A few, I mean, I've got 3 or 4 that really understand it. When you say DID, folks, dissociative identity disorder, that's the actual scientific mental health term, you might say. Program multiples is when someone is programmed, usually intentionally, doesn't always have to be. It could be individually by somebody, or it could be a corporate, done corporately, usually for a purpose, for an agenda. Kelly, when it comes to program multiples, someone that's had a personality split for whatever reason, they come to you guys. What's the first thing you do? Do you cast out demons? Do you pray over them? How does the healing happen?
Well, we have a skeleton system, but we let the Holy Spirit move. Everybody goes to the website, they fill out paperwork, they get on my schedule, and then I'm kind of the gatekeeper in terms of I meet with them. I go over their paperwork. I try to get to know them, get to know their history, see where they really are in terms of their willingness to do the work, or abilities and different stuff like that. And most of the time they'll get an appointment with me, but sometimes we'll have them go to do some of the classes first, and then then they might be ready to meet with me. When you meet with me, we go through a process of start dismantling what the enemy has built.
Okay. And I want to circle back around on that dismantling, but before I do, how many people in your estimate would be victims of SRA, which is satanic ritual abuse, causing the splitting of personality? I mean, I know it's conjecture to a certain extent, but the people you've dealt with, how many of them have come from SRA as opposed to just regular abuse?
Well, the majority come from SRA that come to us, I think, because the word's out that we understand. In theory, if you're not as far on the trauma spectrum through all this, you can get help and you can get healing through doing the more natural things of turning to Yeshua, making him your Lord and Savior, repenting, getting in the Word, all these kind of things, different therapies that the worldly counselors have. You can get some healing through that, but when you start to get farther over, the counselors don't understand it. You have to go somewhere where the Lord has taught you how to dismantle. Yeah. And so that's kind of where our sweet spot is. I do see the others when they come, but this is where I spend the majority of my time. So, I mean, the percentage is very high. It's 80.
Yeah. Wow. We have just a few minutes. I want to ask you about the dismantling of, which I like that analogy, that terminology. How do you dismantle these the personalities? How do you put those back together? How do you heal those? How are those dismantled?
Yeah. Well, again, there's commonalities, there's a skeleton to it, but it depends on what they've been through, because there's all different, which you alluded to, all different kinds of peoples and groups and sophistication out there in terms of the programming and the trauma and the making of the splits and all these things. So we have to figure out, okay, what exactly happened? What kind of group was it? What was the sophistication? As I learn more and more, the Lord is teaching me ways to get to the root faster. But it has been quite the journey and learning. But what I usually do is I start with an overall session in which if they're ready, you go through things like forgiving yourself, forgiving them, choosing to, asking for forgiveness. And then we go through breaking of contracts, dedications, vows, rituals, blood covenants, curses, hexes, vexes, hermetic magic, all these kinds of things. We break all that, go into ungodly soul ties, go into the courtroom of heaven, evict. And once we kind of, do an overall cleaning, and then we start seeing if the parts are ready to come up and speak and get their voice back. And then we let them know that, they're no longer stuck in that situation, that the bad people are gone, when they're confident that we're safe people. And eventually, as they process what they need to process and repent for what they need to repent for, we introduce them to Yeshua and he does his work. And that's kind of the next step. But then eventually you want to get down to the foundation, so that you can dismantle the whole thing, can fall down. Because it is, when you're talking about the more sophisticated, it is very, there's a method. It's very scientific. It's a creation of the enemy's temple within a child.
Okay, so basically casting out the demons, cleaning house, and then going in and letting the healing happen. It's two separate issues. You can't go in and try to heal people when you got all the demonic warfare going on, nor can you just cast out demons and leave people on their own, because they're still broken. They still need to be healed. Let me, as we close on this, I need to ask you, what is the purpose behind most of the programming? What is the agenda? Who's behind it? What are they trying to do?
Okay. In my opinion, which I do this every day for multiple hours a day. So my opinion is that it's the enemy creating his army for the end times. So if they get the child, before they're in the womb a lot of times, or even prior, at conception, and you start making satanic soldiers, but they don't know, because they've been put to sleep. At a certain point, they activate them. They activate them for different jobs periodically, but at some point when the Antichrist comes, they'll activate the child part, one of the child parts, and they will believe that it's their daddy, because they're so desperate for a mommy and a daddy. They will believe that it's their daddy, and they will rise and do exactly what he says to do to usher in, his kingdom.
Russ Dizdar and I did many interviews before he went on to be with the Lord, and I went with him, had boots on the ground, and we spent a lot of time together talking about things, but as much off the air as on the air. But the thing is, the thing that hit home was, this was 4 years ago, over 10 million program multiples in the United States today, over 10 million. Kelly, I agree with you. I think they've been programmed for a time and a place. I think they're sleeper cells. I think they're in the government, law enforcement, entertainment, in the religious system. And there's going to come a time when that button, that lever is going to be flipped, and they're going to come alive, and as Satan's army. And so what you're doing with Warrior Bride is you're dismantling that before that happens, before they have a chance to have. Give us one more time your website and how they can get tickets and how they can come see us and the date.
Okay. So the website is www.warriorbrideministries.com. You go on there and there's a drop-down menu. It says 2025 conference, September 12th through 14th. We're going to have a great time. This is a heavy subject, but we also like to have fun, and the Lord likes us to have fun. We're going to have baptisms on the beach. We're going to have a nice fish dinner, beachside, all kinds of fun things, and bonfires and s'mores. So come. I mean, a lot of people are talking about this, and some people are saying, well, what do we do about it? Well, this is what you do about it. You get involved. You come get in your position. Your position might not be exactly what mine is, or maybe it is. But you know what? We need administration. We need media. We need friends of the survivors. We need mentors. We need teachers, counselors. I mean, the list is endless.
That's right, folks. We are exposing it. You can join us for the 12th, 13th, 14th September. But I wanted to run that for you because it's happening. I'm getting people coming to me at conferences saying, David, I fear that I'm a program multiple. I lose track of time. And what are the three things? Hear voices, lose track of time, and a lot of times you can't remember a good section of your childhood. Doesn't mean you are, but it means that you could be, certainly. And you could be, but not have all three of those things, or at least not know that you have them. In this last days, the Antichrist is going to rise with his troops. And these troops have been programmed to do what it is that they are supposed to do. And it's not a good thing. So help us. Go to davidheavener.tv. Sign up, become a member, okay? I want you to become a member. I just want to show you this before we go, because it's really, really important that I do show you this. It's our platform. It's our private platform. We will not get kicked off of this platform, okay? And I'm happy to have it. Thank God for it, okay? And this is David Heavener TV. We have over 20 channels of truth here. You got the live channel, which you can watch us live free. It doesn't cost anything. Just go there and watch us. The festival channel, the winners are going to be worldwide distribution. We help filmmakers that are Christians. We have the Last Evangelist series channel. We have David Heavener Investigates. There's a new series. T, I interviewed her. She had her son stolen by MK Ultra. That's on there. Alien Demon Abduction channel, L.A. Marzulli, Josh Peck. Our new release, The Coming Apocalypse. It just goes on and on. Derek Gilbert, Michael Lake, Bible and Prayer channel with Mike Spalding, Health and More, Coming Holocaust. I mean, and then we've got the Rest is Our Tribute channel. Would you please consider becoming a member, folks? It's cheap. You get 2 months free if you join for a year. Go to davidheavener.tv. All right. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. And I want to thank you for being a part of this ministry, for praying for us and encouraging us. Without you, we wouldn't be. You've helped so many people. Because of your prayers and donations, I'm able to travel and do conferences, and I do altar calls now. God's calling me with my guitar to sing the public domain songs, like, I call them tried and true, and it seems to touch people's hearts, and people come forward. We had a young lady come forward last week, gave her life to the Lord. She was an SRA victim. I had a young girl, 17 years old, the month before that, I did an altar call at Go Ye Therefore. She came forward. She gave her life to the Lord. So when you donate to this ministry, this is what we do. This is the fruits of your donations. So I want to thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to see you guys in Underground in just a few minutes. All right. Love you. I'll see you there. Hey, everybody. I am honored and blessed not to have just one new book out, but 2 new books. That's right. 2 new books. The first one is End Times Investigation. I deal with Hollywood mind control. I deal with demon portals, the alien demon connection, astral projection, program multiples, satanic ritual abuse, and much, much more. The things that I talk about in Last Evangelist and on my shows, all my interviews I do, it's right here in this book, especially my life story. Also, True Power, how to access your true power in these last days, okay? It's a war manual for God's children. We need to learn the enemy's tactics and how to battle the enemy in these last days. Pick up a copy of this book. Just text the word chosen to 91999, or you can go to davidheavener.tv/order, or you can simply call 844-806-0006.
How can people be a participant and help you bring the Last Evangelist story to the public?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. We set it up as the model like The Chosen, where you can go and donate. You can actually be the financier on it. You go to lastevangelist.com and you can donate. You can be an actor, you can be a producer, you can be, or just donate. Special thank you. Hey, everybody. Episode 1 and 2 are finished, but we're now filming episode 3. Would you please help us finance this very important mission? Episode 3 deals with mind control and how government is taking over the church. You can call 844-806-0006, or you can go to lastevangelist.com, or you can text the word evangelist to 71777. You can watch episode 1 and 2 right now on davidheavener.tv. I love you all. Thank you so much.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic MyPillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size MyPillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone,